Okay, Jeremy here, Jeeps Unlimited, partsbreakers.com, 303-666-9020. From this shot, you would say, wow, you guys have a ton of frames. And we do. We blew up a lot of frame, or a lot of, blew up. When I say blew up, we dismantled. We had a lot on the back corner that the guys had stripped down to like rolling chassis. And I finally, one of my old guys needed some work. I say, hey, you can come in, just don't make a mess. Well, he made a mess, so he's not out here anymore. But we got some loose frames finally. Now, the bad news to that is our site right now is showing that we have more TJ frames than we have. And that's what I was worried about. We did a big update on our website, and somehow when they transferred products over, some things got put back into stock as a quantity of one when they did imports instead of just leaving those ones alone. So what does that mean? Not much for you guys, other than it is a little bit more of a job I have to make sure that things are accurate. So I'll go through those later. But let me just give you really quickly, there is a half of a frame I have over here that's been cut from basically, the frames are 144 inches, so basically 12 feet. And that one is probably 8 or 9 feet. So, and it's the front half that's off. That one was damaged on the front, and somebody bought, well, a different customer bought one rail of each side. For repair of their own. And in those cases, we do cut frames. We do not cut good frames, but I'm going to send this video out and post it online. And somebody in particular that called, I'm going to go over some of that stuff with them, because that might be helpful to what we discussed on the phone, which is essentially an LJ frame, which is next to impossible to find, especially a nice clean one. That frame is actually pretty clean. I mean, it's really clean. It's really great shape. So that would be a possibility, and I might even be able to put together a couple other pieces to give you that extension. Or if your front end is good, and I can give you the exact measurement of what you'd want to at least see, maybe that's where, you know, you can use what you have left to help extend out. It just depends on where yours rotted out. So as you guys have probably know from just knowledge of life, that anything that's in salted areas, Midwest, East Coast, northern states, and coastal, usually you're going to find rot in frames. Now, that doesn't always, like, you look at a lot of like these old CJ frames here, you see the back supports. That actually is a really clean frame. That back support can be replaced, and those ones do typically have some rust. They're just a C channel, so they didn't, by and large, these were actually pretty good frames. There wasn't any place really to trap and stick mud, dirt, rock, salt, whatever you name it. So a lot of times these ends didn't really rust out. I mean, those back supports were pretty common. I wouldn't worry about those. I think it was just the type of stamped metal they were using. The fronts can get a little weak on these and crack. This one's been modified, so, but anyway, we're not here to look at these. I just wanted to go over this with you real quick because I do have some clean frames out here left for TJs, but I don't have very many. I have one I just listed, 9702 6-cylinder, beautiful grade A frame. That one went up on the site last night. I have one unlisted 9702 4-cylinder over there. That one will hopefully go up here in a couple days. And then I have, I think two. Okay, so we have a 4-cylinder TJ, another early frame. I believe this one is available. Last guy I had out here that we just recently let go wasn't very organized, and I have to go through invoices and see. I have a trip coming up, so this frame, I knew I have a couple frames on that trip going out with me, so this may be one of those. So I'll verify that. Otherwise, we'll have another, as you can see, beautiful early TJ 4-cylinder frame. And then we have a late frame here, and this is a 6-cylinder. So, really, there's not an easy way to tell just by looking at them between a 9702 and an 03 to 06 because those little bolt holes aren't on every 03 to 06. It was an extension plate that came out to help protect as a skid plate. But this frame is actually pretty clean. It's got the only weirdness on this one, and I always like to show it right there in the beginning. You can kind of see it there. It's got a little soft spot that showed up right there in the middle of where your cross member goes, and exactly the same on the other side. This one is a little bizarre because somebody had went in and tried to put some rubber padding and then just really cinch down on those to help, you know, this metal on metal. I don't know if they were trying to seal it somehow to prevent it from rusting, or thought it would rust, but I think they actually caused more damage than they needed. So I mean, look at the rest of it, and I'll get it washed and cleaned up. It was at one time, but the front area is nice. This one has been scoped, and that's kind of how I knew that. When we bought this thing, we always run a scope down them. We usually clean out holes and throughout. And when I got back here, I didn't see anything right away, even with the light on it. I mean, it might have been a little rough down there, but what I noticed is when we dropped the belly pan, redid the scope, immediately we seen just little, and at the time I hadn't washed this one. That hot seat we have is pretty 4,500 PSI, so it blew through a little bit of that. But I seen a couple little, literally pinholes, and I'm like, okay, well, let's get that and really hit that hard with the washer and see if we can punch through anything else. So and that's exactly what ended up happening. So this one is about the size of a quarter, although the area in question that's just a little thin here is, I'd say, about 2 inches by 1.5 inches, 2 inches. My mesh maybe 3 by 2. So these are about 2 inches wide. So, and then almost the same on this guy over here. So, and I will show you this frame up close and personal. But in the case that we were talking earlier about extending a frame, and you can extend it where you're wanting it. If you look at an LJ, they're slightly longer in this region here, or they have an extra support, I should say. If you look, they're almost doubled up supports back here. And I would imagine that's because that's where they lengthen them, but I could be wrong on that. I know I've had people do it before, lengthen these, but it's been a while and I don't remember where they said they did it. It makes sense to lengthen it here, but you'd have to see in the geometry of obviously where your tub is. And I have a feeling it's back here because I have an LJ, and the length difference on them, it's like all factory up into the, you know, you start getting into that rear trunk area. And then of course your axles push back a little further and whatnot. So anyway, look at this frame as a consideration. And if it's something you'd consider, not only, you know, we'd make a deal on because of the condition of it, but in considering we normally get about $3,200 for a frame, you know, and really no problem doing that. They've always been super easy to sell. This one wouldn't sell for that anyway because it's got that, and even that little scuff on it would definitely deter this thing quite a bit down. So we can talk price and getting it out there to you. And if anybody else sees it, doesn't necessarily mean that this is gone. So, you know, if this is something that, hey, look, the rest of it looks really good, which it does. I mean, even your back support, this is always an area that loves to rust out on these, and vice versa. And all, you know, it's hot. It's gonna be hot as shit. It's up here today, but let's see if I can get it up on the side. Sometimes it'll sit nice for me. Okay. So the dirt on it, you know, but this thing is, I mean, it really is a clean, and I'll get it all polished again. We have this Adobe dirt, and it just kind of discolors everything. But good news, there's no salt on our roads out here, and there's no salt in our soil. So, all right. So if you give me the green light, at least in the sense of, hey, I want to see this thing cleaner, I want to see this thing better, I will go ahead and get it washed. I'll get another video of it, a video of its own, and even some close-ups of those areas photo-wise. But this is the one I'm thinking, and then we just got to talk shop as far as pricing goes. If one of the other ones is more appealing, we can talk on those too. Just realize that those ones, those early, specifically the early frames, even the late 03 to 06 6-cylinders are, if I had a 2.4 frame, I'd really probably go in that direction, because we usually sit on those, although we don't have any of them right now. So anyway, that's what we're gonna go with. We're gonna go with this one initially, and then if you're wanting, if you've seen something else you like, this is the only one over here, then we can go that route. That half frame over there, you know, you might say, hey, wash this one and that one. And even though, you know, you wouldn't want both of them, because even a half frame on that one is as clean as that one is, we should still be able to get a little bit out of. So, but I might have a front section, and I think, matter of fact, let's just walk over there real quick, because I think there's a small chunk. Let's see here. There's a small chunk of the rear section sitting over here. That might be exactly what the doctor ordered for this particular project. And that I definitely can wheel and deal as a set on them. So my frames are crazy right now, but most of these are CJ, actually a few CJs, I guess not a ton. We got a lot of YJ 4-cylinders, and we start fitting those out, which shouldn't be a problem when we get into the fall. So anyway, here's that half of a frame. This is an early one. Nope, that's not it. See? That's not gonna work. I'm glad we came over here. That's a YJ. That ain't gonna work for you. This is the half of the frame that I have, and it's less than, yeah. So the only chunk I have is that guy. But at the same time, if you can use that with that other one, I can sell those as a pair for you. This will make you a smoking deal on them. And that again, I'll clean it up, but that's a nice rear section. I don't know, we'll have to look and see if that's, you'll have to look at yours and see if that makes sense, if that's where you extend them or if it's somewhere else. But anyway, I'm gonna quit blabbing. Just give me a shout when you get a chance. I'm just gonna text you the link once it's uploaded, and call me anytime. I'm gonna be delivering parts starting tomorrow night. Actually, tomorrow afternoon on, we have a web meeting with those guys that did all this reporting stuff. See if we can fix some of that. So I'll be tied up pretty much from about 4 o'clock your time on to, I would say, almost into Friday, because I'll be delivering parts. You can definitely call me anytime. But if I don't answer, I'm either in a meeting or I'll be traveling to Denver to do a parts drop, okay? And if there's something else out here you've seen, just reach out and we'll see what we can do for you guys. This is a good time of year to call us. We get a little slower this time of year, not a lot, but a little bit. And I'm usually doing spring cleaning, which is exactly what we're doing. So a little bit more in the wheeling deal, just because I don't have to deal with it later, kind of thing. So, all right, thanks guys. 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. I'm gonna go build an axle now.